Hi to anyone who's listening. Thanks for tuning in. Today's topic is about the feeling you get when you don't have the feeling. So I've had a really strange thing happen over the last couple of weeks, and maybe it's a result of having started to make these videos. So because I have an outlet for the feelings I have inside of me, the story that has been created as a result of my connection to this person who I have come to accept or at least consider as my twin flame. As a result of that, and making these stories or making these videos and telling my story, I don't really feel him anymore. I am a little, well, that's not true. The other day I had a really strong feeling. Actually, it was so strong. What am I talking about? The feeling was so strong, and the feeling was to contact him and share with him the link to these videos. And on one hand, I really wanted to let him know about these videos because it's an objective way of telling my story, the story he's never given me the opportunity to hear. He doesn't want to talk about it. I just am carrying this on my own, and I don't know if my attention is projected onto the wrong person, but up until now, it very much has been this one individual, and there's still a need inside of me, or there was up until very recently, to reach out and have him hear me, have him hear what it is I'm saying to anonymous people who are tuning into my videos on YouTube. I really felt that in having made these videos, it was an honest way of sharing my experience, and I felt that maybe it would be beneficial for him to hear these videos. So, but then I just kept thinking, well, I'm making these videos anonymously. Nobody knows that I'm making them. And I've done that very much on purpose. So if I share the links with him, then he will know. So they will no longer be anonymous. And I realized I don't trust him. So as much as I consider that I have a 5D, a spiritual connection with this person, I don't trust him. I don't know him enough to trust him. I don't know what he would do with this information. Would he ridicule me? Would he share this amongst friends who have been in his life as long, if not longer than I have, and recall the days when I had a very strong obsession and was in his face about it. And so really it was just a general distrust that held me back. And then I further examined that because the feeling was still really insistent. I need to share. I want him to see me. I want him to know me. And I had this aha moment where I realized that is my ego. That's my ego. My ego is wanting, needing. These are all very ego-based feelings. Wanting him to hear me, to hear my side of the story. For what reason? So that I can. Now, why would I do this? It would be so he could hear my story, understand, and bring him closer to me. So therefore, in wanting to share the videos and in wanting to bridge the gap between us, right away that's ego, because it is reacting to a gap. It's reacting to a separation. The very need of wanting to share with him is based in separation, because in the spiritual realm, there is no separation and there is the connection. So once I identified it as an ego desire, I then looked at it a little bit more from this perspective, and I realized having this insistent feeling of wanting to reach out and connect, not only am I connecting to him from a place of separation, but I'm also trying to manipulate the situation in that, hoping he would respond perhaps with some understanding and a light bulb would go off, and he would then start to reflect on our relationship and realize that there's something more profound to it. In any case, it's me making a move in a chess game with the ultimate aim of bringing him closer to me. So as soon as I realized that, I had to really look at this feeling. Why was it so insistent? Why would I have this feeling? I thought that feeling was my soul, my love, my heart telling me, oh, you have to reach out. You have to make the connection, because if you don't make the connection, he'll never know. He'll continue on his way in his 3D illusion, and you'll never have the opportunity to share with him these greater, higher feelings. And, that's just not what it's about. I'm really happy to have people who I can talk to about this situation, because it's really comforting to know that there are people out there like myself who have this experience that you can't just bring up in day-to-day conversation. Most people won't understand it. And, if you are alone and there is no validation for how you feel on the outside, then it can be very lonely at times, and not to mention a little bit freaky, and fill you with self-doubt and make you wonder if you're crazy. And so, in opening up and sharing how I feel and sharing my story, I hope to connect to people and just give them something to relate to, just as other people give me something to relate to when they make their own videos. And so that whole urgent feeling of needing to share my video series with him, that urgency, that need, that in itself is ego. And so the more I thought along these lines, and I identified how ego was working within me and what was inspiring it, what was motivating it, wanting, needing, separation, attachment to outcome, expectation, all these things that can so easily mask themselves as love, as passion, as a feeling that you have to follow through on. Anyway, so I really sat with that and really came to accept that it was my ego operating. And then I had this amazing, amazing moment, whether it was an epiphany or a moment of enlightenment, whereby my ego literally dissolved. It literally dissolved. It disappeared. And I was left but a soul in my body. I think I was driving. I had a 4-hour drive, and that's when I was mulling all this over. So my ego dissolved, and because I realized any feeling I was having around this situation was ego-based. And with the ego dissolving and just simply being and no longer feeling that desire to reach out, it was really beautiful. And then what immediately followed was this love. It was like my heart chakra exploded. It was so intense. It was so beautiful. And it was very overwhelming. So I sat with that feeling. And I finally understood what it is to have an ego. And then I thought, well, why do we have these egos? Well, they help us navigate in the world. They help us, they pull us towards things we want, things we don't want. They protect us. They give us an identity. But we need for our egos to be our tools and not to be at the mercy of them. And really the words, just keep your cool, really spoke to me. I think it was, I follow Cassidy Kane, Twin Flames 1111, and in one of her more recent blogs, the words, keep your cool, jumped out at me. And I really think that's the mantra of this experience. You've got to keep your cool. You've got to sit back and watch and be an observer and really get sophisticated about how your ego and your feelings and your soul are all interrelating, and asking questions. And in doing that, not only are you developing self-mastery over your emotions and understanding the interplay between ego and spirituality, but you are really setting the groundwork for having a true, profound relationship with yourself and as a result with the world around you. So what's been happening while I've been on this kind of train of thought over the last few weeks has been an incredible opportunity that's opened. And I've gone back to school, and now I'm so busy that it's just amazing how, well, I'll go back to where I started. These feelings have just dropped off. These feelings like that the twin flame is out there and the urgency to move towards him, and the reasons for that, my age, kids, not wanting to be alone, partnership, social conformity and acceptance. And that's all really dropped off. They're almost like little voices that natter away at you, and you don't even realize that they're influencing how you're thinking, when in fact, they're pressing your buttons, and they're getting you to think and react in ways to these ideas that are so prevalent in our society. And in having kind of examined that, observed it, and had that a moment where I truly understood what the ego was, I've since become so full that I almost wonder if I'm even a twin flame, because there isn't even the sense of another person anymore, that I'm just complete within myself. And it's only been a couple of days, and in a way I'm also feeling a bit sad, because I'm so used to that sense of attachment, that sense of connection, and for it to have just up and walked out and I'm left with just myself, it's non-emotional. It just is. I'm just being. And the person I'm being is someone who has a lot to do in my day-to-day now that I've taken this on as well as working. And I just feel really grateful for the time I have made for this, and the realizations I'm having, and how my goal now is to really, really to deepen that connection with myself, with the divine, through yoga, through meditation, and really out of respect for all that is, and the universe around us, and the earth that has created the very minerals and whatever that makes up our bodies. I'm not very scientific in that regard, but just really moving into that space of gratefulness, and gratefulness for existing and being the opportunity to exist, and to exist with this awareness is truly a great thing. So I hope this hasn't been too rambly, and thank you for the wonderful comments. Peace out. Be back soon. Take care.